film institutes and all, what will happen there? We are feeding the industry. We are feeding the film industry. All the directors who are coming out of the film industry, how many are making films for the independent? How many independent filmmakers are there? Hardly any. Most of them get absorbed in the film industry. There's hardly any new filmmakers coming up. Very, very few. Very few. Because unfortunately, it's not their fault. The state has to provide the entire, full chain. You just cannot make half a chain and promote that section and not think of the entire chain. And the entire chain consists of the economic chain of the distribution and exhibition. That the state has never done it. Unfortunate. The SK Patil Committee in 1952-53, that was formed primarily to find out the need of what is to be done for the film industry. Okay. The SK Patil Committee recommended that a film institute should be opened. That FFC, Film Finance Corporation, should be opened. Finance side should be seen. They had also mentioned about theatres, that theatres should be constructed. But the theatres was not the priority. Theatre construction was not the priority of Government of India. They concentrated on Film Finance Corporation. Of course, that was a big failure. You have some films, of course, and Pune Film Institute. Okay. Again, half-hearted measures. They didn't play out the full thing. I won't be surprised if both the institutes are closed down, because it is a drain on the exchequer. The taxpayers' money is going into Pune Film Institute and SRFTII. What are they getting? Nothing. Zero. What independent film are we talking about? Are there any good films coming out of the makers of after Government of India invest so much of money in these two institutes? If you don't construct theatres, if the state doesn't construct the entire, the infrastructure, we are not going to go anywhere. It is better to sell those institutes and let the private industry let them take over. This is a very drastic view, but I have been holding to this view for a long time, and this is actually a fact. We are feeling technicians of the industry, but what about directors? Technicians finally work with directors. That is I think that directors become very important. Directors and scriptwriters become very important. True, they are feeding the industry is getting trained technicians. Why? Free. Why is the industry getting so many technicians free of cost? What has the industry done for independent filmmaking? Why should we give? Why should the Film Industry Institute provide them with technicians? It is being just a waste of money. Has the industry done anything? They are just interested in money making. Filmmaking primarily is big business. Today, if a producer finds that he can make more money by supplying wood to funeral pyres, he will make that. He will go for that business. He is not interested in any art, anything like that, or good cinema. It's a holistic thing. You just cannot have good technicians. How many directors can you mention? It has been how many years now, film industry? 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 50 years? Film Institute. Film Institute 50 years. How many directors have we produced? How many scriptwriters have we produced? How many? You can name it in one hand. And that two very commercial directors, they're not from the direction department. Also, that is a problem. I have very clear views on the Film Institute and all, and my friends don't agree with me. And I make it very clear. That's why I'm also shunned by all this institute. I'm not called for in the Film Institute meetings and all that to be a part of their committee and all. I've been, earlier they were called and I went and blasted them. I made my views very clear. I told them that you cannot operate isolated like this. You have to go for the overall thing. Otherwise, it's of no use. Absolutely no use. With the the industry and the institute, there should be a symbiotic relationship where I think the industry also stand to gain with the institute. That has to be worked out. I don't know how that will work out, but something like internship during the vacations and things like that, they can also come over, things like that. That is happening, but in, I think, very isolated cases. We have to have a process of starting. The other thing you have to remember is the faculty in a film institute are always people who have failed in the film industry. People who can't do anything, they go and teach in the film industry. Institute. Who fail in the film industry, they come and teach. People who can't teach, which is partly true, all the world over. World over, you cannot. I learned my filmmaking and all in the film institute by not from my teachers and professors there. Okay, they guided me, fine. But I learned it by seeing films there, the discussion we had, the entire atmosphere in the film institute of 3 years. That helped me my growth. The classrooms and all, they don't help you. In addition to this, if you have interaction with the outside local industry, it will enrich you. It will enrich you. But definitely your growth has to be overall with international films in mind. It cannot be just local like few films. You just cannot have an isolated film institute. That is very utopian thinking.
But I am asking, why do you need film institute then?
No, you don't. At this stage, you don't. You don't need a film institute. If you cannot provide us with theatres and all the directors will finally be approaching Venkatesh Films for work. They will be finally absorbed in the chain of mediocre filmmakers outside. You don't. I've been always saying shut the film institute. You don't require the film institute. But if you have film institute, then you better provide the entire chain. Then at least the person knows that in fact, one suggestion I had made many years back was a direction student passing out from the film institute, it should be compulsory for him, because the government of India has sponsored his stay in the film institute. They should be made to work in films division for 1 year. They'll be making documentaries or whatever, short features or whatever. 1 year of work for the government of India, their department, so that they can get acquainted with, they can put their skills into use instead of going directly into the industry. They can work for the government, improve films division, bring up the standards of films division, and also mark out a career for them in the films division, in the world outside, after working in films division. That was one of the proposals I had given, and I think that is a good proposal, because you are not directly thrown in the outside world after the film institute. You go through a little government work and then you step into the outside world.